Hi, folks. It's Darla with Dare Tell. That's the name of my channel, right? Okay, this is a little different. This is not about the paranormal. This is not about guardian angels. This is not about, well, maybe there's a guardian angel in there somewhere. This is not about UFOs or anything like that. This is a true story because remember, I don't want fiction. I want the truth. And it's from a dear friend of mine. And I remember when this happened. So, if you're a cheater, cheaters beware. It's not good. It's not a good thing. So, yeah, people make mistakes in life, but when you're in a relationship, be a man, be a woman. If you think it's over, talk about it, split up amicably, do it together. Don't do it. Don't go and find somebody else first and get yourself in a beautiful, wonderful, fun honeymoon period and leave the other one just hurting and heartache because, sometimes there might be a little bit of revenge involved. And that's kind of the case here. Actually, it is. All right. So I'm changing the names just to protect, certain people. So we're going to call our couple here Sam and Sylvia. Sam and Sylvia had been together for over a year. And in the beginning, it was wonderful. It was great. Everything was going good. And then, things kind of slowed down a little bit. They started to, get into the responsible parts where you have to pay the bills and, go to work and do things that you have to do as an adult. And you get to know each other and, you get to know each other's idiosyncrasies. And maybe you don't like all of them. Maybe some of them you can live with. Well, anyway, something came up like a family reunion and Sylvia wanted to go down south to be with her family. And so she did, and this was no big deal. She went down there and she's down there a day or two. And this was back in the 80s before cell phones. Cell phones were not a common thing if they even existed. I don't think they did. If you wanted to talk to somebody by phone, you had to be home or at work. And that was not cool. You really, most of the time you're at home. So with that being said, Sylvia's down south. She's calling and he's calling, but not so much. And she's getting a gut feeling. Always trust your gut. Always trust your gut under any circumstances whatsoever. Okay. She gets a bad feeling and she just decides to hop in her car and drive. I think it was 8 hours, 8 hours, and that was a long time, back to the house where she knew he would be. And because he at some point, for whatever reason, he moved in with his mother, back with his mother. Maybe that was, a telltale sign. I don't know. But she goes there and she's waiting inside his mom's house, who she got along with, I guess, pretty well. And in the window, she sees him drive up with another woman. But he sees her car and takes off. So she just waits there because there's really not anything else she can do. She can't chase him down. And sure enough, he's not gone very long and he comes back. So at this point, he's busted. But in the meantime, Sylvia had already figured things out a little bit because she was in his bedroom and went through his stuff and found a picture of a girl that was like half naked in his drawer. And she found some other telltale signs that he wasn't alone, and that there was another girl. So she wasn't completely surprised when he showed up, and now he has to be truthful and say, okay, yeah, there's somebody else, and I want to call it quits. So this hurt Sylvia. It hurt her heart. She cared about this person. She invested a lot of time and whatever else, energy into this relationship. And so Sylvia went on, I guess she went home or whatever, but at some point she devised a plan. And what she ended up doing was she knew him. She knew him well enough that he was jealous enough to where her plan might work. So she also wanted to move on with her life. So she decides that she's going to go out one night, and this is shortly after all this had happened. She goes to a club, but she calls him first and says, hey, I need some of my stuff. You've got my stuff and I want it back. And I don't want to meet this girl, and I don't want to really see your mom, and I don't want to see anybody else. So I don't even want to see you. So if you would, I'm going to be at, I think it was the El Dorado. There's a lot of El Dorados in the world, so I don't think I'm getting anybody in trouble or anything like that. But she said, I'll be at the El Dorado and my car will be open. Just put everything in there, please. And she knew he would come in. She wasn't stupid. And sure enough, even though he's working, he came in and let her know that the stuff was in the vehicle. And he goes, I gotta admit, I'm a little bit jealous, because she's dancing with other guys and she's sitting with some other guy and having drinks and stuff. And she goes, well, I still have feelings for you. And and she was playing and acting like she was a little bit intoxicated, and she's going, man, I would just love to have one more night with you, but that's only because I'm drinking, and otherwise I wouldn't want to see you ever again anyway. I don't know. So he takes advantage of this moment and says, you know what, after work, I think I might come back and, at least talk to you and see how you're doing. I want to make sure you're okay and that you get home safely. And for her, that was code that you don't go home with somebody else. And sure enough, it was like a little while later, I guess, apparently. So she hung out there at the club and had fun and made sure that when she saw him coming in, that she was truly having fun. And, in his jealousy, he's like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, well, like, not me, Sylvia, like, well, where are we going? And he said that he couldn't go back to his mother's and he couldn't go, obviously, to his girlfriend's house. So they were going to get a room together and figure it out from there that they'll just talk and, figure things out. Because she said, like, I'm not going to be a one night stand for you. And in her mind, she knew other things anyway. Remember, this is all part of her plan. So they leave and they go get a hotel room. And she just goes, what is with you? Why do you smell so bad? Because he's hugging her and holding her, and she's going, first of all, I thought we were just going to talk. We have a lot to work out here. I'm willing to give this a shot, some talking. I'm willing to do some kissing, but what is that smell? And he couldn't figure it out. Like, well, he's a tow truck driver, so maybe it's oil, maybe it's gas, maybe it's something else. So he decides he's going to go take a shower. All part of her plan. He takes off his clothes and gets in the shower, and she said she'd order a pizza. She acted all normal, and because it's not like they haven't known each other. They've known each other for a while. And the minute he got in the shower, she grabbed everything of his car keys, his hotel keys, his clothes, his everything, his wallet, piled it all up, took it out, ran, got into his car, because that's the car that they had taken to the hotel, and she drove it over to the apartment where his girlfriend was, which, of course, she knew where that was at. She knocks on the door. The girlfriend answers. The kids are crying in the background. She's obviously stressed out, and she hands all this stuff to her, like, boom, and says, he's at this hotel in this room number. Here's the key. Here's the keys to his car. How does it feel? And she took off. She had already had plans. There was a Denny's about a mile away. And I don't know, from there she got her car or whatever. So the moral of the story is be careful. Be careful who you hurt. You might hurt the wrong person. For the record, that relationship did not work out. I don't think it ended right there. I think it was a slow burn, which is even worse because, now this woman really knows that this man absolutely cannot be trusted. And he knows he can't trust her either. They're both cheaters. So their relationship was not off to a good start, and it didn't work anyway because they're both cheaters and they had that baggage. So folks, I don't know how old you are, and everybody makes mistakes, and everybody's guilty of doing something stupid like that in their life, or most people, maybe not everybody, maybe not you, but maybe you. Be a man, be a woman. If you're not happy in a relationship, don't go finding somebody else first. That is so chicken. Yeah, no, that's not okay. Talk to them, say, hey, you know what? Let's go through this together. I need to end this, or at least let's take a break. Then there's no secrets, there's no surprises, there's no nothing. And it's a very healthy way to end a relationship. All right, folks. Okay, this is Dare Tell. And that was a good one. And so, me, Cal Gal, that's my email. Email me at mecalgal@gmail.com. I will share your story if you want to remain anonymous or have a fictional name like I just did. I'm happy to do that. Or you can just use your first name. I don't care your full name, but just email me your stories so I can share them here. And until the next time, if you guys would hit the like button here and there, at least, okay? Appreciate it. Right now it's good. Just a little like if you liked anything about this at all. Super easy. All right, folks. Bye.